no, Steyn, no. So the information that he had on the download did not include this call. Then he says, no, but BlackBerry Net and WhatsApp is the same thing. That's where I was like, this guy is insane. He is trying to drive us all crazy in the country, in the world, basically.
About like the Barbie, I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Things felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a 10. Like Gabby, Stacey, all of the Barbies is pretty. Damn, all of the Barbies is bad.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Dogwazi Ntombela, also known as Kwazi Bear on all social media platforms. Do subscribe, be a part of this family, and if you're a returning subby, welcome back, darling. Now guys, as you know, every week I bring you the updates on the Senzo Meyiwa trial, so I'm here to do exactly that. Before we get into the video, please like and engage in the comment section, because as you know, this helps us reach a greater audience, because YouTube recommends our videos to other users on the app. And also please do super thanks if you can. That is the button that's written thanks down below. That is just to show me that you appreciate the content that I bring to you. So without wasting too much of your time, let us get into the video. On Monday, the 19th of August, as you know, Colonel Steyn is still on the stand, and cross-examination by Advocate Nxumalo continued on Monday. So the first issue that I'd like to touch on with regards to the cross-examination is that when Nxumalo asked host if the 2 hours rule that he says needs to be implemented actually affects anything else with regards to the data, he does say that it does affect the towers, which means even the towers that he had placed on record are incorrect, but the minutes and the seconds are exactly the same. It's just the hours that are added. During the cross-examination, Nxumalo then points out to host that the last data usage on Kelly Khumalo's phone on the said day is actually at 17:58. So how is it possible? Because if you add the 2 hours to the 17:33 that the call was originally said to have been made, then the call then moves to 19:33, and around that time there was no data usage on that phone until the following day. So basically what Nxumalo pointed out is the fact that Steyn basically took the usage for the whole day of the 15th of October to say Kelly Khumalo was on a call, and he basically just thumbsucked the fact that there was a call in that data. Even concludes by saying, no, then it's clear that the data was not switched off. So he's concluding that the data was not switched off. He's concluding that Kelly Khumalo is deleting calls. He's concluding a whole lot of stuff. But Nxumalo then completes his cross-examination on Monday, and Mshololo takes over. One of the first points that Mshololo touches on is the fact that the host Steyn keeps referring to the fact that he just puts information on the system, and the system is what gives him the answers. And Mshololo says no, but the system doesn't work on its own. It works on what you give it. So basically you are the person that's telling the system to give you that information. And she also goes into the fact that he is a person that edited this information. So how can we believe him when he says this information wasn't edited? Because basically he was alone when editing this data. And then Steyn points out that no, he wasn't alone. He was in fact with Advocate Baloyi when the editing was done, which is crazy business. How is it that when you were analyzing the cell phone, you were sitting with Baloyi, analyzing the cell phone data and editing with Baloyi there? Chololo then does put it to Steyn that the information that was edited on the data was not only the fact that the page numbers were added, he also edited Nduli's number into the mix to make it seem that accused number 5 did in fact contact Kelly Khumalo. Another thing that Steyn said on this day, which was the worst example possible, is that he says, no, this thing is like a running engine. You can tell that the car's engine is running, and if they're traveling from Johannesburg to Kimberley, but you don't know which gears they're using. And I'm just like, but you're contradicting yourself, because by saying that, you're basically saying you can see the usage on Kelly Khumalo's phone, the data usage, but you don't know what app she was on, but yet you want us to believe you when you tell us that she was on a call because of the megabytes. No, Steyn, no. Chololo then puts it to him that he has come last year he came to court and fabricated evidence. He has now come to fabricate even further, which was the point of the week basically for me. And then Mshololo also goes to say that there is nowhere in any of the exhibits that are before the court that the proof of the said contact or the WhatsApp call or whatever call did actually happen. All the exhibits are either Vodacom information talking about data, which the data is not allocated as to what it was used for, and the Vodacom phone calls, which also basically state the phone calls, but that information about the call between accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo is not there as well. So she says in all the exhibits before the court, there is no proof of this communication. And he adamantly says, I know that this call happened. Now, a very good example of the fabrication that Mshololo touched on is the fact that there's a call on Kelly Khumalo's phone to a Gogonzongo, Gogonzongo. And there's 2 exhibits before the court. It's the one that Steyn blatantly denies that he says he did not work on, and the one that he did bring in as triple K5. If I'm not mistaken. And on the 2 datas, it shows the call by Gogonzongo on both of them. However, the times are different. So you can tell that the editing of this information has been going on for quite some time. The time reflected on the exhibit that Steyn denied is completely different to the time that's reflected on the evidence that Steyn brought before the court. Yet it's exhibits from the state. So how is it that they are having contradicting evidence in documents that are from the state? So the editing has been happening all along. Mshololo then says the only way that we can prove that these calls actually did happen is by bringing Kelly Khumalo's phone to the court so that we can see these transactions on that phone. Where is the phone? The phone is non-existent. So we cannot believe a word that you are telling us because we do not have a phone to basically compare the information on the phone and on the downloads. Now, the best moment of this week for me is when she then went straight to the point and asked, what you said that the second call was a data call, and Steyn then says yes, it was a data call. Okay, what data or what internet was used? Because internet is very broad. You can have emails, you can have Facebook, you can have Twitter. So what application was actually used? And Steyn then says WhatsApp, which was the moment that I had been waiting for. He says the call was a WhatsApp call. So Mshololo confirms yet again. So you're saying it was a WhatsApp call? And he says, yes, what else do you want me to say? So Mshololo says, I put it to you that you're misleading this court when you say it was a WhatsApp call that was used in the communication between accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo on the 15th of October in 2014, because WhatsApp call was not available. Now the judge butts in and he says, when was that when WhatsApp was not available? And Mshololo says in 2014, my lord, WhatsApp call was not available. Then Steyn, to mess things up even further for himself, then says, no, I said WhatsApp and BlackBerry net. And Mshololo says, no, but WhatsApp and BlackBerry is 2 completely different things. The first call, you said BlackBerry net. I get that. I'm not there yet. I'm on the second call on the 15th of October. I've asked you twice and you've said that the call was a WhatsApp call. WhatsApp was not available in 2014. Then he says, no, but BlackBerry net and WhatsApp is the same thing. That's where I was like, this guy is insane. He is trying to drive us all crazy in the country, in the world, basically. Because what does he mean WhatsApp and BlackBerry is the same thing? Guys, remember in my previous videos, I had said BlackBerry needed BBM. It was an app. WhatsApp is something completely different. In fact, when WhatsApp was introduced, it didn't replace BBM because BBM was an app on its own. WhatsApp came through and became a popular app. Ongagoguti, the BBM closed down years later because of the fact that it was just not compatible, I think. But bottom line is that Steyn is saying WhatsApp replaced WhatsApp replaced BlackBerry net, as if BlackBerry and WhatsApp is like one company or one app. No, Steyn, no. With that heated back and forth with regards to the WhatsApp call and the BBM call, Mshololo then concludes her cross-examination. Baloyi then re-examines the witness, and the first thing that he touches on is, or one of the first things that he touches on is the fact that when Kelly's phone was downloaded, there were apps that were on the phone. So he refers Steyn to those apps, and he wants he wants him to place them on record. And one of the apps was WhatsApp. So now the judge, because you know how the judge is, then says, no, but you're the expert. Was WhatsApp available in 2014? And Steyn says, yeah, WhatsApp was available. This is when the defense was up and saying, I remember Mnisi saying, no, let's not get things confused here. Let's not confuse the record, because we are referring to WhatsApp call. WhatsApp call was not available. WhatsApp as the app, the messaging app, was available, but the calls were not available in 2014. And the judge then goes on to say, then bring your own experts. And Nisi says, we'll bring 5 if we have to. But the fact is, WhatsApp call was not available in 2014. I will also just include a clip or snippet here or screenshot just to prove this point. When Baloyi concluded his re-examination, the judge then had a few questions of his own to ask, and the judge seems to have a habit of doing like a credibility sort of analysis with the witnesses at the end, which isn't a thing that is normal. Nisi did this, bring this up. So he asked him, what does Steyn have to gain if he were to lie about the accused? Does he actually know the accused before the court for him to be able to lie about them and all of that? So those kind of questions just make me think the judge is already thinking that Steyn is a credible witness after so many lies. After so many lies, wait for the portion at the end of this video where I point out the lies of these witnesses. But bottom line is that the judge then did this little credibility check, and when the defense was asked if they had any questions, Mngomezulu was the first one to say, you know, Steyn, you do know that when a person lies under oath, that's a choice. It's an individual choice. You don't need to know the people that are involved. You make the choice that this is what I want to do. Is that not so? And Steyn does agree to this. And one of the things that Umnisi also said is with regards to the judge doing the credibility analysis basically on a witness whilst they understand, because it's not yet at that stage where he needs to basically discover whether a witness is credible. So it's unprocedural for the judge to be doing this at this stage. The judge was literally up in flames at that point. One of the questions that Mshololo had was with regards to the cases that Steyn refers to. He says that he's worked on over 2,000 cases and he's never basically been, or his evidence has never been set aside because it was unreliable and all of that. And Mshololo then requests that he brings those cases so that they can follow up on them to check if they were not sent to appeals court or anything like that, and if all the evidence that he provided was in fact used in the judgments of those cases. So with Mr. Steyn concluding his examination in chief and cross-examination, we needed to know the way forward with regards to the next witness. And when Baloyi asked the judge, well, with regards to Pinky Vithalingham coming back, because as you know, the judge had indicated that Pinky may need to come back because of some discrepancies that came through in Steyn's evidence as well. The judge now changes his mind about Pinky coming back, and he says, no, I don't want Pinky to come back. Steyn has already clarified everything. So according to the judge, Steyn is right. Steyn has clarified, Steyn has done the Lord's work. But guys, clarify where? Where has he clarified? Because we still don't have a clarification about his data. There's still confusion about where he's getting this data. There's still contradictions about the data. So why does the judge not want Pinky to come back? That's my question. And at the end of the proceedings on Monday, the judge then asks who's the next witness, and the state does indicate that the ballistics have not completed their report yet, and they were hoping that we cross-examine the ballistics first before Gininda comes. And also, surprisingly, Gininda is not available for this whole week. So the judge then says, no, but we cannot adjourn until the 2nd of September. So can't we get Mangena to come back? Mangena must just come back. Mangena must come back tomorrow. And I'm just like, but the judge is the one that made the ruling that the ballistic expert, Mr. Stefanis, needs to come back on the 2nd of September. You made that ruling. Nobody held a gun to your head. You made that ruling. You gave the ballistic expert enough time. Now all of a sudden, because the state says they can't get Gininda this week, now you want the ballistic expert to rush his evidence, rush his report. It didn't make sense, but he just concluded by saying that Mangena needs to come in on Tuesday and the cross-examination needs to continue. On Tuesday, as expected, the defense then says, well, Judge, you made a ruling on the 23rd of July to say the ballistic expert needs to come back by the 2nd of September. So his report is not ready. Therefore, we cannot cross-examine Mangena, because remember, Mangena is an expert. Any questions that they put to Mangena, they need to have an understanding of his expertise. And they're unable to do that if they don't have the report by the ballistic expert. So the defense then says, we're unable to cross-examine Mangena today. He is in court, he's available, but we can't cross-examine him based on the fact that he is an expert. He's a ballistic expert. None of the defense lawyers are ballistic experts. So they need to have a ballistic expertise in order for them to cross-examine, or a ballistic expert's report to be able to rebut any evidence by Mangena. So Umshololo then says she suggests that they continue with Gininda so long, or any other witnesses if they're available, so that when Mangena is, or when the ballistic report is done, then they continue with the ballistic report after that witness. Baloyi then says, no, we cannot continue with Gininda because we would like for Mangena to come first, and Gininda is not available, and. So the judge then says, no, call the ballistic expert and tell him and ask him if you can't be ready this week. And so there was an adjournment. They called the ballistic expert, and the ballistic expert was adamant that he needs a full day to sit down and consult with the defense and tell him step by step about the report and his findings. So he could only do that by Friday. So the court then adjourned until Monday, because obviously we need to wait for the defense to consult with the ballistic expert on Friday the whole day. So the court was adjourned to Monday the 26th of August. That is when we will continue with the cross-examination of Mangena, who stood down from last year. Guys, it's been a whole year since we heard the evidence of Mangena. We need to refresh our memories a bit, I think, also about what he has said. So use this week to go back to the record of Mangena's testimony. Guys, those were the proceedings of this week. And yeah, there wasn't much going on except for the cross-examination of Steyn for the 2 days, or the 1 day. So with the time that I had on my hands, I was Little Miss Investigator myself. I didn't go to the records of Mangena yet. I'll go back to those. But I went into some of the evidence of Steyn, of Ghost, and of some of the cell phone, basically people that dealt with the cell phones, or Mushwana, or Ndlovu. I went back into those records, and there is some interesting stuff that I would like to share with you guys, because I don't think this video is long enough anyway. So let's get into this bit of information that I investigated. Investigator Kwazibe. Okay, so the first issue that I'd like to touch on is the issue of the bootup. Now guys, I said it in my previous video, I'm not an IT person, but some things are just common knowledge. Reboot, boot up, reset are different things, right? So when Steyn came to give his evidence with regards to Kelly Khumalo's downloads and stuff, he does say that Kelly Khumalo's phone had a boot up, and when he was asked to explain the definition of this boot up, he says that a boot up is her trying to delete some data on her phone. Now let's take it back a few steps, because I am one person to go back to the record. When he talks about this boot up, he says this boot up was done on the 27th of October at around 1:33 or 1:13 in the AMs, right? That is a day after the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. So he basically tries to say that Kelly Khumalo did this boot up in order for her to delete some information on her phone. That was the evidence. It was cross-examined, and he stuck to that point, right? When Ramasipile cross-examined him, Ramasipile needed clarity to say, boot up and reset, is it just restarting the phone, turning it on and off, or is it deleting factory settings? And he said, yeah, it was factory settings. That means she wanted to delete some of the information to hide whatever that she was hiding. Now guys, I went back to the record of Mushwana, who was the downloader of the phone, who says, no, just after 12 o'clock midnight, I collected 6 cell phones from the people that were in the house. The first cell phone was an iPhone, which belonged to Senzo Meyiwa. There was a ZTE phone, which is Kelly Khumalo's phone. There was a BlackBerry Curve that was there. There was another iPhone, which belonged to Ulongwe. There was a Nokia N8 that was there, as well as Tumelo's Samsung. So there were 6 cell phones. He put them in 3 exhibit bags. In one bag, he puts the Samsung, which belonged to Utumelo. In one bag, he put the iPhone, which belonged to Senzo. And in the one bag, he put the 4 phones, which belonged to Kelly, Ulongwe, and Usandi. Right? And he says he collected these phones after 12. When he describes the definition of a boot up, please can we take a moment to listen to what he has to say?
Why did the device have to be booted up? A boot up, it's simply a restart.
Boot up is a phone.
Maybe it was on and you switch it, or it was off, you switch it on. And the second meaning of this would be, when we are doing downloading of cell phones, you have to install drivers on the cell phone so that there can be communication between the cell phone as well as the XRY machine. Actually, will go into a dead mode, which means it will be off, and then when the backup is finished, it will actually kicks on and it's on automatically. So that is also a boot up.
Now, from these proceedings, it is clear that 1, he had the cell phone when the boot up was done. 2, the boot up was done because he was putting devices in Kelly Khumalo's phone in order to extract the downloads. So that's what the boot up was all about. So why did Steyn lie? What was the reason, Steyn? Why are you saying that Kelly Khumalo was trying to delete things? Why? What was the reason? Another thing that I want to talk about is with regards to the downloads. Now, I don't know what I was doing yesterday, but I happened to have the proceedings playing on my laptop, and I heard hosts testifying, saying that Steyn did not go through the downloads.
I don't think Colonel Steyn testified on the cell phone downloads.
And I was like, no, hold up, wait, what did host just say? And I just needed to replay that bit of information. And so I replayed the information, and this is what Steyn had to say.
That CD is new evidence that was booked up. I don't think anybody else did analysis on the cell phones. I was the only one did analysis on the cell phone downloads. Nobody else.
Now, at first I got like extremely excited, guys. I won't even lie. I got extremely excited. I was like, Aibo, Steyn just told us about downloads, and now host is saying that Steyn didn't touch the downloads. What is happening? So I did a little more digging. And I came to the realization that 1, the downloads that Steyn was referring to were the downloads of Kelly Khumalo, and the downloads that host was referring to are the downloads of accused number 2 and 5's phones. Remember, now we had the issue where they said that accused number 2 had a phone on him that was confiscated on the 8th of February in 2021, and accused number 5 had a phone on him which was confiscated on the 19th of August in 2020. Now the crazy thing about this is where the plot twist is, all right? Listen to me carefully. This is where the plot twist is. I can believe that Steyn didn't work on those downloads. But then my mind is just like, no, but Steyn retired in 2023, which was last year. These phones were collected from the accused in 2020 and 2021. What does he mean he didn't work on those documents? Because already he was asked to find the links between the accused amongst each other and the accused and the people in the house. What does he mean he didn't work on the downloads? Also, he says they couldn't get the Section 205s because it was already 3 years later. So how could he have not worked on the downloads to check if there's communications between the accused and Kelly based on the downloads? That's when I was like, And then I went further to say, Uhos, now, going back to the record yet again, Nogwaz. Uhos, when he was led by Ubaloy, before that, Uhos, when he was cross-examined by Umshololo at some point. Remember, Uhos came in two portions. He came and then we needed to pause because he hadn't had sight of the Section 205s. Now this is where the important part is, because when Host came, Mshololo during cross-examination led him to the evidence where Steyn talks about the communication between accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo, right? And so Mshololo was cross-examining on that point. And when he was cross-examining, Baloyi objected and said it's unfair to expect this witness to talk about that evidence because Pinky from Vodacom is still going to come. Nyangis, hold on, grasp onto that information. So Uhos then didn't answer the question based on the fact that Pinky is still going to come to verify the information. Guys, Pinky came. Pinky said, no ways, ma'am. This information does not match. Pinky came and said, no, this information is not on my data, right? Now that Pinky came, they called Steyn back and needed to clarify. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the point Yabaloy first, the point Yabaloy Yoguti Pinky will come was on the 17th of May, 2024, where he stopped Umshololo from cross-examining and he says Pinky will come. Now let's go into the next important bit. You can remember Host's testimony with regards to Ndanzi's phone and his download. He says that when he received Ndanzi's phone, he was told that it was taken from him during his arrest. Do you see how Host's version is in line with Ndanzi's version to say his phone was taken from him when he was arrested? Host also says Ndanzi's phone was taken from, he was told that this phone was taken during arrest. However, when Mohane came before the court, he told us this phone was taken where? At the cells, months after Ndanzi's arrest. You get? Now, the important bit now that I'm getting to is with regards to Host, right? On the 17th of April, Host is asked, Steyn came to testify and said that Kelly had communication with accused number 5 on the 2nd of August. The call was 110 seconds long. What is your comment on this? Host then says, well, based on the XDR system, I can tell that this number is associated with accused number 5. However, based on the call information, I'm unable to tell you because I don't have the Section 205. Now guys, if Steyn was working on the downloads, remember Steyn all along was working on the downloads? He testified on the downloads and he had not had sight of the Section 205s, right? So the information that he had on the download did not include this call. Can somebody shoot me dead now? The information that Host had on the downloads did not include this call. That's why he concluded that the call was on the Section 205s from Vodacom. The same Section 205s that Pinky denied. The same Section 205s that Steyn came and told us that no, that call won't appear on the Section 205s because it was a download. Hols worked on the downloads and he couldn't confirm that call. Guys, when do the lies end? When do they end? Let us get into the second call of the 15th of October because I have a scatla right there as well. Hols, who worked on the downloads, same downloads that Steyn was working on, says with regards to the call on the 15th of October, all he can confirm is that the number is the same. So basically, inamba kantuli appears on the downloads. However, he cannot tell the time when the call was made. He can't tell the time when. He can't tell the seconds, the duration. He can't tell that information, but he can tell that the number definitely was in contact with the kid. How is it that hosts couldn't determine the towers, the time, the when Steyn came with the same downloads and could tell us? Guys, can you see the lies of these people? That's all I wanted to share with you guys. These people are lying to us. These people are making us fools. And I'm so glad I have all this time to go back into their records and compare because wow. Anyway, those were my little 2 cents for the week, as well as looking back at some of the evidence of the witnesses. I will see you guys in my next video. Hope you enjoy the weekend. Bye bye.